Hey, right. Um, Happy morning to you. Top of the morning to you. Oh yeah, a lot there. Um, well, like it does never end, does it? It just gets more stupid and more idiotic by the day. It seems like, and it makes you ask the question, like, what are we doing? I sit here and wonder to myself, why do I allow all this shit to just I mean, it affects us all, obviously. The economy affects us. And that's really the driving force when you think about it. I mean, I know I always go back to this, but when you think about it on a day-to-day basis, the thing that causes the highest level of stress in most people's life is it comes down to money or the lack thereof. We live in a world of abundance. We have everything right at our fingertips, but yet attaining the money, like we have the people that know how to go out and get oil and refine it and make gas, and we have the ability to do all sorts of different things. We've outsourced a lot of stuff, certainly, and I think that's diminished from the the technology workforce, right? Because like, let's say that everything goes down, right? The grid, all this, none of this even exists. Like, we can't do this anymore, right? I can't communicate with any of you like this. It's done. Like, everything's done. Like, all the little cameras and the little things and our little gadgets and shit, they're gone, right? How long does it take us to get back to where we have those things again? There's not one single person. There's not a single, like a singular person that's going to be able to recreate the iPad, iPhone, MacBook, any of this shit. We're back to square one. Because the way this stuff is created now, it's built in a, in a Chinese factory or, some other country where people don't have to get paid much. And they're jumping out windows and they've had to put suicide nets out. But each one of those individuals just does a specified task. Like, if you look at a video of, an Apple factory, everybody in that place has one specified little job. Have you guys ever looked at what those people go through over there? Oh my God. It's terrible. It's absolutely terrible. I mean, they live in these fucked up dorms. Some of them live in like cans, almost. Like, they're terrible. They're absolutely horrid. I mean, like, here, let's just pull up a video here. I'll just pull one up. All right, let me get a little volume here. We're gonna watch one of these. Just I have never watched this one. I just want to take a look at it, just to see what's up, because I got a feeling that this is going to be messed up. Get a little volume, get us a bigger screen. There we go. Volume, let's see what's up with this joint.
Last month, it emerged that Apple, the most valuable company in the world and supposedly an icon of squeaky clean progressive values, brushed aside allegations of child labor within its key Chinese supply chain. The suggestion is that a big Apple supplier named Suyin Electronics employed workers as young as 14 in the interests of keeping up with the ferocious appetite for Apple goods in the West. Apple chided Suyin, but maintained ties for months and even years afterwards. With new allegations like this and a spate of suicides associated with the brand's manufacturing base over the years, we thought it was time we put on our lanyard.
A spate of suicides involved. That's pretty crazy. I mean, that's how bad that shit is. You know what I'm saying? Let's see. They put up nets around these places. You know what I mean? They put up nets. Let's just say Apple suicide nets. All right, here we go. Let's check this out. All right. Boom.
It's all so stylish. The see-through stores, the pristine white packaging, Touchscreens, all the more touchable since the company that makes them has been shrouded in tantalizing secrecy. Until now.
I'm told this is the very first time any reporter from any country has been allowed to see this.
We don dust-free bunny suits to watch a room filled with massive robots glide around with sheets of iPad glass.
Wow, look at that.
You think you got it bad? Look at this. Look at that robot. That thing's just full of glass. It just goes and picks it and then takes it where it needs to go. And then these assembly lines are just insane.
It's like a scene out of WALL-E.
But these lines are the futuristic exception. And with Apple's reputation under fire, we're most interested in the people who build their complex gadgets one tiny piece at a time. As a whole, it's an incredibly complex process, but look at the individual.
So there's what I'm saying. Like, if everything goes down, right? And let's be realistic. It doesn't take much to set off an EMP that could knock everything out. I mean, if it knocks everything out, how long does it take us to get back? How many people does that involve? Because you're not just talking about, like, there's not just a guy. There's not just a person out there that's just like, okay, I know how to fix this shit. Like, you're talking about a process that involves millions of people, if not billion. I mean, you know, there's 8 billion people on this planet. 7.96 billion. We're close. It's going to be not too long before we're there. I mean, that's a lot of people. You know? And then, you know, it begs the question, what would put a person in a position where they would want to do this all day? Look at this shit. I mean, this is
Individuals. And you see mostly teenagers from the countryside, 17, 18-year-olds far away from very poor homes.
So this is home.
They live in a dorm with 7 strangers, spend 6 days a week repeating the same task again and again. Fatigue and boredom are common in any factory, but this one is surrounded by suicide nets. They are everywhere. A horrifying reminder of 18 workers who jumped from the buildings here at Foxconn City in the past few years.
What did they just say? They said that most of these kids are young, like teenagers. They're taking their young people and they're putting these buildings. What they say? 7 people in one room. 18 suicides. I mean, I can understand that. You gotta. That begs the question. It's like, what in the fuck are we doing? Like, these are the people that are building the shit that I'm looking at right now in front of me, right? The shit that I take advantage of, the shit that I take for granted. Like, you know, my iPhone, MacBook, iPad, you know, all this stuff. My Rodecaster Pro, my microphone, everything. I mean, it's probably, I don't know where the Sterling mics are made. I would guess that they're China, Taiwan, maybe. And these are people. These are people. It's not. These are not just like. I mean, you can't sit there and. I think we have a tendency to marginalize people that are stuck in these situations. These are people just like you and me. Just like you and me. They have desires. They have things that they want from life. They, I mean, certainly raised different. Maybe with, that worker, that factory floor worker mentality. But I mean, I can't think of a factory in this country where people have been jumping out windows. I mean, it happened in the stock market crash. I suppose that could happen again. I don't know. I hope not. But I mean, this all comes down to, I mean, look at those. Those are kids up there in that window looking down on suicide fucking nets. Those kids living in those, they know 18 people, that's a lot. I mean, when I was in high school, we had a lot of suicides, but not 8. I mean, in my time in high school, it wasn't 18. I mean, That's a lot. And they know each other, you know. They've got to know one another. Of course, they don't get any time off, but I mean, they're all crammed in these dorms. They've got to. I mean, I know you know how it is living in dorms. Anybody that ever went to college, you know everybody that's on your floor. You know, you pretty much know everybody in your whole entire dorm building. But anyway, I'm gonna keep trucking on this thing and see what they got to say.
The suicide rate in this massive company is lower than average in China, but after people jumped in such a sobering cluster, Foxconn opened a counseling center and raised starting wages about 25 cents an hour.
I wonder, though, if it wasn't for the spate of suicides, did it take something that severe to make you rethink how you treated your workers here?
I think absolutely. What we are facing are changing in a much rapid pace than we could have anticipated in the past. Right? So we are also changing.
As the Fair Labor Association collects employee grievances on, get this, iPads.
You can be honest.
We talked to dozens of employees, on camera and off, and the most common complaint, low pay. Most, like Zhao Xiaoying, can't afford to live with their own children, much less buy one of the products they help build. While she carves thousands of Apple logos.
Look at that. That's what she's stuck doing. On every day, 6 days a week. She's punching out that Apple logo. That's it. Since she's got kids, she can't even live with her kids because she can't afford it. So, I mean, this begs a lot of questions. All right, on the ass end. There's only 20 seconds left. I'm just going to play this out.
Logos onto the backs of iPads every shift. She's never actually seen a working iPad.
What do you want the people who end up buying this to know about you?
I want them to know me, she says. I want them to know we put a lot of effort into this product, and when they use it, please use it with care.
Girls are like that, yeah.
How crazy is that? She'd never seen a working iPad. Never seen a working iPad. That's crazy. She spends 6 days a week in that factory, and she just puts those Apple logos on there. She can't live with the kids because she can't afford it, and has never seen an actual. Now I don't have an iPad in here with me right now, but I've got. Creak. I've got technology every fucking where in front of me. You know what I mean? I don't know. I've got Kindles, and I've got a whole nother computer system over there. I've got this one. I mean, it's crazy, you know. Got this soundboard, microphone. I mean, this woman has never even seen a working iPad. How many? I mean, chances are that the one I have, she probably punched out that Apple on there. That's what she does, day in, day out. We have to ask ourselves a question with that, right? Like, what are we doing? What is going on? I say we. I'm talking about, people. This is a term that everybody talks about, globalists, right? And how it's so evil to be a globalist. But what's so wrong with thinking about people that live in other places around the globe other than where you're at? Is that a problem? Why is that an issue? Now, I know that there's, they talk globalists, and they're talking about like people that want to run the world, right? You're talking about like the Bilderberg Group. You're talking about the Rothschilds. You're talking about big banks. You're talking about fucking Wall Street, the elite. I guess that's when people refer to globalists. I guess that's what they're. I guess that's the inclination there, is that you're talking about like the elite people, the top 1%, like the people that go to Davos every year, right? To the big economic forum over there in Sweden, I guess. That's with Klaus Schwab, the biggest evil, like a pinky fucking. If there's anybody on the planet that has fucking sharks with fucking lasers on their head, it's Klaus fucking Schwab. He's the guy that says in 1930, you're going to have nothing and you'll like it. Now, having nothing, I don't know. I don't know about that. I mean, it seems crazy. I mean, we can see the world of abundance that we live in, right? Like, it's scarcity that makes people's lives difficult. And through scarcity, it forces people to go to work in these jobs. I mean, I don't ever want a job. Never, ever again do I want a job. You know? And there's people out there that like what they do, and there's nothing wrong with that. If you love what you do, hey, awesome. That's great. I'm happy for you. I am. But the fact of the matter is that, you know, I mean, there's a toll that it takes on you, you know, when you do the same thing over and over again, right? Like, you look at, like, even if you're doing something you love, like, look at the tattoo artist, right? That has to do that job every day because that's how they make money. But yeah, they've got carpal tunnel and nerve damage. And so they have a hard time tattooing. Like, they have to, like, slow down their appointments. They got to, like, space it out more. They can't take as many customers, and they're not making as much money. And it all comes down to the money, right? You know what I mean? Like, if you take that same tattoo artist and you allow that guy to, or woman, or that artist, okay? I'm not trying to get into the whole gender thing, whatever. I didn't mean anything. I'm a man, so I frequently say that guy, you know. There's nothing condescending meant about it, so don't take it that way. But you take the tattoo artist, right? And so this individual who's very talented has been put in a place where they have to keep their schedule full every day. So they're sitting there every day, all day, right? Like, with a tattoo machine, right, in their hand. And they develop carpal tunnel. It's the same thing that has happened to me with the years of doing the construction work, repeated work, right? Like, I mean, it happens to you when you have to do the same thing over and over and over. Like, when you spend years climbing scaffolding, standing on ladders, that's the worst thing for your feet, especially for a guy like me, because I got big dogs. I got size 13 feet. So standing on an extension ladder, there's a lot of pressure that gets put right on the center of my foot, and I'm up there and I'm wearing steel toe boots, hanging off of a 28-foot ladder all day. You know, you think about 20 years of doing that. And your feet, if any of you guys know anything about reflexology, your nerves, and what's in your feet, like, you can get online and look it up, and there's spots on your foot that you can hit, you know. I mean, there's spots you can, like, pinch down on different spots on your big toe, your second toe, your third toe, your pinky toe, pressure on the outside, inside of your foot, top of your foot, and it'll affect different parts of your body. So when you spend years doing something like that, all of a sudden you don't feel your feet anymore. I can't even imagine what it would be like spending years doing what these poor people have to do in these factories, and then to try and have a decent attitude about it. I mean, that woman that we saw there, she can't even live with her kids, so she doesn't see her kids. She works 6 fucking days a week. They call it 6 9s, I think. I mean, what, you know, do the math on that. I mean, 54 hours a week, punching out an Apple in an iPad. She'd never even seen one working before. And that's not, I mean, it's not like she's the only one in there. You're talking about thousands of people in these factories. They're jumping out of windows. How bad is your job that you're going to just fucking jump out the window? I mean, we make jokes about shit like that, but that ain't a reality for most people. But I mean, a lot of people, though, I think that, I mean, I've worked jobs like that where I would rather just jumped out a window, I think, at times. The one thing about working in trade, those I've always had the opportunity, and the one thing I've liked about working in trades is that at least, even though you're doing the same thing from day to day, your location changes. Like, you get to travel a little bit, you know. You go to different jobs, different locations, different scenery. You know, it's still the same old shit, though. I mean, like I worked in a cabinet shop, and I couldn't handle it. It was day in, day out, the same thing. Go in there, sand. I mean, I like building cabinets. I do. I have a shop here at home where I do it. But the difference is, somebody calls me. They want a cabinet. They want a table. I go look at their home. I check out their decor. I check out their style. I talk to them. I get a feeling for the person. And then I'm able to create something for them, right? Like there's something different to that than there is to sitting there and punching out an apple day after. How many of those bad cases do you think? I mean, it's, you know, I mean, you see the apple right there, right? How many of those do you think that woman has? I mean, how many of those have gone through her hands? I mean, it's almost heartbreaking to think about. And it makes you wonder, I mean, why does a person like that, why does she deserve that? Why is that her lot in life? Because she was born in China? She didn't choose that. She didn't decide that she was going to be born a Chinese female. I mean, and to be a Chinese female, I mean, you're probably lucky to be alive. I mean, because I remember, I mean, when I was a kid, that's all they talked about was that, you know, well, they've changed it, but like, you know, back in the day, like if you were a Chinese family, you were allowed one kid. I mean, you got to wonder how many baby girls were they, I mean, maybe this is just bullshit. I don't know. This is what we were told. Okay. So I'm not sitting here trying to say this is factual, but I mean, growing up, they said that, you know, if a family wanted a son, and that's why the it's off over in China. And Elon Musk has spoken on this, that the male to female ratio is off over there, and everybody talks about their problem being overpopulation, but Elon says no, their problem is that they're not raising the population fast enough, right? Because of that gap. And then look at the way they're living. I mean, video after video. I've seen some of these where these folks are living in literally a fucking pop can, right? Like, I mean, we want to complain about shit, you know. I mean, this is worse than my fucking my fucking prison cell. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'll see if I can pull up some footage of some of this shit. It's crazy. I mean, and they can't afford it, right? I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy. Some of these places where these folks are living. Let's see if I can pull up. I mean, and they're paying more. I mean, they're just stuff. It's like they're stuffed in. It's like stuffed in to like a beer can, basically. Like, you go in the room, you have enough room to stand there and then lay down. I mean, it's like a dog kennel, you know? I mean, you got cage. Here's one I just see up here, cage dwelling. I mean, they're like doors. Like, they go in and they got like a door, right? And they're stacked on top of each other, too. It's not even, it's bizarre. Absolutely bizarre. I mean, Vox has got one out here inside Hong Kong's cage homes. What?
It's more expensive to live.
I mean, this is crazy. Absolutely crazy. Let's see what's up with this. Let me just get the monitor back up.
In Hong Kong than anywhere in the world.
Look at that. Just stacked. Look at some of those buildings.
Hong Kong has been ranked the least affordable housing market in the world 8 years in a row.
Crazy.
And by a long shot. Housing prices are now almost 20 times more than annual income. That means that a household making $50,000 US would, on average, be looking for a house that costs $980,000. And it's getting really bad. Hundreds of thousands of residents now squeeze into incredibly small apartments, most of them no bigger than a parking space.
So these are cage homes, which basically fit one person.
Bro, cage homes. That's a dog kennel. That is a dog kennel right there. Okay, this is a country that has control of 70% of the lithium. They are pumping out all these different technologies like crazy. People are getting paid nothing. Look at that. I mean, look at that picture right there. I mean, that pillow's like, I mean, somebody's sleeping on that, yo. That's somebody sleeping on that. That is a fucking dog. Look at that. They've got that looks like a vest and maybe a jacket. Some fucking power cords that are probably shorted out. God knows, it's probably lucky to not be electrocuted. You got a shitty window, no paint. I mean, oh boy, we got a problem here. I mean, that's a bad deal. I mean, I hate to see anybody have to live like that. That's fucked up.
And their belongings, and they basically stack these in a room in order to fit as many people as they can in the room.
And yet the price.
Look at that. They got them like up on top too. They got people. I mean, look at that. I can't. I mean, I would literally take in. I would take somebody from over there. Be like, here's your room. I got an extra room. I would literally straight up take somebody. If anybody over there working in an apple factory who wants to come over to the United States and come live in Wyoming, I'll house you. Because the spare room that I have, I mean, compared to what this is, there could be, I mean, I'm not even trying to, stack a bunch of people in there, but I mean, my spare bedroom is the size of one of these homes. This is ridiculous. And so, why have we, I mean, we're not from there, but you have to look at this from at least a point of being a human being. I mean, this one here, this picture of this one, I mean, this looks nice compared to that other one. I mean, unless there's paint, it looks like somebody's done a little bit of some kind of little woodwork up there. It's got nice trim, right? Like at least the wood trim's painted. It doesn't look like you can see much out the fucking windows. I mean, look at that. That's their the closet's right. I mean, and then they got a shelf up above. I'll bet you. I'd be willing to bet you $20 there's like a hot plate and probably a shared community bathroom. This is crazy.
Price per square foot for these smaller houses just keeps shooting up.
Kennels.
I visited these homes to try to piece together an explanation for this trend, and to meet the people who are being squeezed by the world's least affordable real estate market.
There are now tens of thousands of people in this city who live in spaces that are between 75 and 140 square feet. For some perspective, a typical parking space in the US is 120.
As I say, y'all know what 75 square feet is. It's not much. I mean, that's basically 7 by 10 feet. And that's what people are living in. My truck is bigger than that. My job trailer is bigger than that. I mean, and that's just the thing that I use to, just haul my shit around. You know what I mean? I mean, that's crazy. Absolutely crazy. I mean, it's almost, I mean, it's really just like, I mean, how can it's just nuts. And 112, I mean, my job trailer is 7 by 16, so that's 112 square feet of floor. And it's probably taller than that. So, I mean, I hold my tools in a space that's larger than what these people live in. If I had to live in that trailer, I could. I wouldn't want to. I've lived in worse. I mean, I've lived in the back of a Ford Ranger before, you know. I mean, life can fucking throw you a curveball, but Jesus Christ, I mean, day in, day out like that, that's fucking nuts. It's absolutely crazy. And you know what the crazy thing is, too? Check this out. They got cities over there that are not occupied. They've got huge cities in China that have nobody living, like there's nobody there. Like they've built these huge fucking cities, right? There's nobody there. And there's all kinds of places like that, too. There's all kinds of crazy-ass cities like that in Russia. I mean, human beings are weird, you know? That's what I don't understand. That's what I don't get. I don't understand that mentality of, I'm going to, you know, I want this and this, that, you know. I mean, you want to live. I don't understand the mentality of when it comes to finances and money and what you have and being generous and caring, like people like Bezos and Musk and Bill Gates and your Warren Buffetts. I mean, at least Buffett, he's not giving his kids any of that money, but you know, the money is what's fucked up. That's what's fucked this world up. Everything that we do is based on that money. When you think about it, when you break it down to its base form, when you break society down to its base element, it's money. Now, there's enough out there for all of us, because why should some dude have, I mean, they're saying that by, 2030, that Musk could potentially be a trillionaire. What are you going to do with $1 trillion? I mean, do y'all know what $1 trillion looks like? I mean, I know that people don't think about this shit, but there's a huge difference between $1 million and $1 billion, okay? And there's a huge difference between $1 billion and $1 trillion. And I've done this little exercise before, okay? So, here's what we have right there. I don't know if you can see that, okay? There's $1 billion. There's $1 trillion. We are 30 of those in debt. So, ladies and gentlemen, most of you, I suppose that I'm speaking to, are parents, being at the age that, I mean, I'm in my mid to late, well, getting on to the later 40s, but most of us have had children. So we're talking about leaving a world for our kids, just in this country, where they're 30, we've hit $30 trillion. 30. So you take that, you're right? 30. Anybody know how many zeros that is? Where you're at? You know how many people live in this country? I'm just going to round it. Okay. That bottom number, that's 338 million. 30 trillion. Anybody care to do the math on what that means for, and here's the thing, here's the fucked up thing, is that number has to continue to increase or we don't have any money. That's what this system is built on, is debt. It's debt, people. Without that, if we were to pay off that debt, there'd be no money. So we can't pay it off. We have to keep having these bills passed where they allocate this crazy shit ton of fucking money. Like, okay, the last, okay. Well, let's talk about some things here. I want to talk definitions. Okay. All the idiots on the, you know, the stupid, you know, MSNBC, CNN, CBS, all the news stations that I do tune into, but I get my news from a news aggregator because I like to see, I use all sides. And that way I can look at a center point of view, I can look at a left point of view, and I can look at a right point of view. You can't just watch Fox News. You can't just watch CNN, right? Okay, I'm talking to everybody out there, left, right. I don't give a shit. But you can't if you're gonna be somebody that's trying to be engaged and trying to pay attention to what's going on. Then you have to take in each side, no matter how difficult it is for you. I know that if you're on the left and you watch CNN, sorry, you can't stand watching Fox News. If you're a Fox News, you're a Fox News person, then you're going to have a hard time watching CNN. A lot of times I have a hard time. There's like, I can handle watching like Tucker Carlson. I think I don't care what anybody has to say. Everybody's got their, whatever opinion you have of that man. He'll talk to anybody. He's had Glenn Greenwald on. He's got Tulsi Gabbard comes on his show. He will talk to anybody from anywhere, and he's got a pretty, as far as I'm concerned, he's got a pretty objective viewpoint on things. But then I look at, the other side of things. I can't even, what am I going to, watch Stelter? Mr. Potato Head? And people even consider those idiots on The View to be like somebody that has something to say. I don't even know why we give them credence. We've got a serious problem, though, is what I'm getting at. We've got all this debt. This country's full of abundance, right? I know where I live. I can go right up my back door right now. I guarantee I can go out there and if I wanted to, I could go out and with a bow and arrow, go out there and kill a deer within the hour, probably within 15 minutes. Bring that thing back to my house, throw out some Visqueen, hang it up, skin it, gut it, boom. I wouldn't want to eat a city deer. If I wanted to go get one, I could. It would literally take me probably the same amount of time. I could jump on my dirt bike. I got a headlight on that thing. You can't shoot things at night. It's illegal. I'm just saying that we live in a world of abundance. Now, why is it that we have so many have-nots? And why do the have-nots just take their licks? What's that? Is it Timex? Takes a lick and keeps on clicking? Takes a lick and keeps on ticking? Whatever it is. The thing is that the have-nots are the majority. And here's the thing is that these elitists have put everybody in this position where they've lied to you and made you think that your vote means something, right? Do you know what voting does? It divides us because we have two choices, a shit sandwich or a shit sandwich, right? How big of a bite do you want to take? That's it. Maybe one has a little lettuce on it. It might make it a little more palatable. Maybe one's got barbecue sauce on it, but you're still getting a shit sandwich. It doesn't matter. Republican, Democrat, it doesn't matter. When you're given two choices and you're put in a position, and how many of you out there have said this to somebody? How many of you out there? I can guarantee almost every one of you have, if you vote. You've been put in a position where you've said, well, I voted that way because it was the lesser of two evils. Really? Now you got to step back from that saying. You got to step back from that phrase. Okay? You understand me? Think about that. The lesser of two evils? Evil is evil. Is it? Is it not? Evil and evil, right? You got Lucifer and you got Beelzebub, right? They're the same in it. If you've got, if you got Freddy Krueger and motherfucking Michael Myers, there's your choice. Or say you got Charlie Manson and Ted fucking Bundy. That's on your ballot. You're going to sit there and watch their debates and go, oh, God, God, Charlie's kind of freaky. Ted's good looking, I mean, yeah, God, well, maybe we'll just, Ted's going to kill some females and put them in refrigerators, but, he's a better looking guy and well spoken, and Charlie's got that thing on his head. I guess we'll go with Bundy. I mean, that's what we're talking about. And I know that that's throwing it in a context that is a little bit extreme, but it's really not. I mean, think about the difference between when you got Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump. When you got George Bush Jr. or John fucking Kerry. I mean, when you got George Bush Sr. and he only made it 4 years, and old Slick Willie fucking beat his ass out. I did not have sexual relations with that woman, but with about 4,000 other ones. Dude was on the Lolita Express, how many, 26, 28 times? For those that don't know, the Lolita Express, that's going down to Epstein's Island. His wife was on that plane. Hillary went down there too. What do you think they're into, allegedly? I don't know. Kind of a weird place to go. Anybody ever seen pictures of that place? That's an interesting story, but that doesn't have anything to do with what it kind of does inadvertently, but we won't get into that. I'm just saying that at this point in time, between economics and our choices politically, we've been kind of painted into a corner. What are we going to do? What are we going to do with it? We can just sit here and keep voting the lesser of two evils? I mean, they just passed this bill, right? Does anybody happen to think that maybe the raid on Donald Trump's, and I'm calling it a raid, okay? The left is saying it's not a raid. CNN's like, oh, it's not a raid. There's 30 motherfucking feds out, FBI agents, right? They've blocked traffic on that road, right? And so Mar-a-Lago is not just Trump's home, it's also a club. So there's people with access to that place that hang out there. They have dinner parties. They got, people that live in that area, they go there all the time. I mean, recently they had an Asian woman that tried to get in there, and I mean, she had 4 different cell phones. She had a thumb drive full of malware, and they ran her off. But I mean, it's a place that you and I probably will never even know. However, let's run through this. Trump had a meeting with the FBI, right? They knew that he had this material, these boxes of these documents, which range from anything from a letter from North Korea to a dinner menu from some fucking, prestigious fancy pants dinner somewhere, to newspaper clippings, what have you. The guy leaves the White House with what they say, 12 to 15 boxes. You're there for 4 years. You're the president of the powerhouse of the world. I don't think it's too untypical to say you might have left there with, you have 6 hours to leave too. That's the thing. You got 6 hours to get your ass out of there before the guy comes in who doesn't even know the address. Like Joe Biden, if you ask Joe Biden where he lives, he ain't going to be able to say 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. They have to take one of these cards like this that I use for my notes, right? And they have to take one of these, and somebody has the job, one of his staffers, of putting that in his pocket at night. So when he wakes up in the morning and he gets dressed, he puts on his little suit coat, which we saw him try and put that on the other day. That was interesting. He couldn't even put his jacket on. Right, so he puts that on, and then he opens that thing up. And he pulls that out, and the first thing it tells him is his address, 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. Who doesn't know that that's the White House? Joe Biden, the guy that lives there, he doesn't know that's the White House, okay? That's where we're at, people. This is the stupid, precarious, retarded. It's just absolutely incredible that we painted ourselves into this corner. And then the fact that there's 338 million of us, and there's, a couple thousand of these fuckers that just run our lives. They said no more drilling. Here's your price on oil. Here's your price for gas. Here's your price for groceries. Oh, if you can get them. Why do we need this? This is my point. This is what I'm getting at. Why do we need this? Why don't we just turn our backs? I mean, what do you do with a little kid that is just a petulant little shit? You can't beat the shit out of him anymore. What do? You ignore him. You ignore a little kid that is just a little asshole, right? I mean, with my son growing up, I coached a lot of different teams. And there was this one kid that could not keep his hands to himself. And I've had a number of them like that. And that's why I don't like coaching little kids. That's why if I have my preference, I want to coach, 18 and up. Just for that reason. But that kid, I'm like, he was looking for, he was always wanting that attention, and he didn't care if it came negatively. So what we had to do with him finally was just like, you just had to ignore him, and his behavior improved. Now, why do we feel the need to have these people run our lives? And why do we feel the need to argue with each other over these elections? Like, oh, you're a Democrat, you're a Republican, you're behind Trump, you're behind Ripper. Why do we even have? Are we that weak-minded that we got to have these people calling the shots for us? Why do we need it? We all know how to function. In your day-to-day life, please, somebody tell me, where does a politician come in and make your life better in your day-to-day operations and what you do? You work on a drilling rig. What's a politician do good for you? Maybe Trump did. I mean, we were energy independent, at least with him. I mean, there's a lot of good things. I mean, if you have to have a leader, I would say that, there's a lot of things that the dude did that I didn't, I mean, everybody does things you don't agree with. You can't agree with everybody all the time. I mean, I wasn't on his, if I don't vote, number one, and everybody knows I don't vote because I can't, but even if I could, I wouldn't. I'm of the mindset of George Carlin. It's a big fucking club and you ain't in it. So what's it matter? You're wasting your time. You put your yard signs up. Now we're at this time of year here. Everybody's got a fucking yard sign up. And so now, here's what this does too, right? Like, even in a small little ass community like this, you drive by somebody's house and you see they got a Liz Cheney sign up. Fuck them. Motherfuckers, traitorous son of a bitches, right? Or they got a Joe Biden sticker on their fucking vehicle and you're behind them in traffic. Oh, motherfucker. Fucking, liberal son of a, that's what it does. When you don't even know that person. You've not talked to that person. You don't know who they are. You've never sat down and had drinks with them. You've never sat down for dinner with them. You never invited them over to your house for a barbecue. You don't know who they are, but you see that sign and you go, fuck you. You immediately dislike that person. I purposely put Obama stickers on my truck in 2008 just because I thought it'd be funny. And it was. In in Cody, Wyoming, to have an Obama sticker on your vehicle, yeah, you're going to catch some fucking shit. I got some people up the street that have, I think they still got, you see them every once in a while. I don't care. That doesn't define you. It was crazy to see when they did the anniversary of the Unaffordable Care Act, and Obama shows up at that thing, and it was like, oh my God, and fucking Joe Biden's over there saluting him, and it's like, dude, you're the fucking president. Like, he's demurring to Obama, right? Obama even is quoted as, I'm paraphrasing here, but he's like, never underestimate Joe Biden's ability to fuck something up. And hasn't that proven to be true? And because of the fact that apparently and allegedly 81 million of you didn't want the orange man back in, you voted for that guy. This is what I'm talking about. And you want to call this democracy? It's not democracy. There's no third-party candidate. There's no third-party choice. There's no other option. You have shit sandwich or a shit sandwich. I mean, how big of a bite do you want to take? And you think that, well, if I vote this way, then maybe it won't be such a big bite of the shit sandwich that I got to gag down this time. But in the long run, look what this guy's done in 2 years. In 2 years, this country has crumbled. We are a third world country. We are a failed state. I don't care what you say. He got up there and said, I want to say a number, and it's 0. We had 0 inflation in July. Oh, okay. Because you dropped gas prices. So I'm supposed to be happy, right? So I go to the gas station yesterday, right? I drive a diesel truck. And so, and it got up as high as $6 a gallon. And I pull up at the gas station, and I got $60 in my pocket, right? I go in and I give them the $60. And I go out and I put the $60 worth in. I didn't even barely get over a quarter tank. It's $5.12 a gallon for diesel fuel. And I'm supposed to be happy because it went from $6 to $5.12. When last year I was filling my 38-gallon tank up for around $75. And so I'm supposed to be happy. And I hear people saying that, well, gas is going down. It's like, you fucking moron. I'm still paying $5.12. I don't know what regular. I guess when I go get regular, I get the premium with no ethanol because I run it in my small engines and my dirt bikes and shit like that because I don't want the fucking ethanol, which is a whole nother fucking thing. We've allowed them to do that shit to us. My point being is that this is the fucking case. We have a world of abundance, and we have, as people, the knowledge to do what we need to do. Not everybody likes working on the oil rig, but you know what? I know motherfuckers that love going out there and doing that work. They love it. They love being a hand. They love going out there in the freezing cold North Dakota and being out there on that rig. It's in their blood. They love it. It's in their DNA. And they would never do anything else. They would drill. People are wired differently. The problem being with the current economic system, which is not sustainable, mind you. It's not sustainable. You can't just make money out of nothing. You can't just keep punching a number. I can't sit here with my phone, right? I mean, this is a. Let's say that I'm the person that's in charge at the Feds, at the Federal Reserve, right? And okay, so Congress passes this bill for X amount of dollars, right? I can't just sit here and keep going to my calculator and punching up a number and then emailing it to Wall Street. Is basically what they do. It's basically what happens. It's a digital transfer of a fucking number. They might not even do that. They might just sit there and say, well, here's who we're going to give it to, and then they're going to be responsible for dishing it out. This reserve banking system that we have is bullshit. Okay, China, Russia, India, Brazil, South Africa, just to name a few, are getting off this shit. Look what happened to Libya. Okay, everybody wants to say, oh, Gaddafi this, Gaddafi. Why did Gaddafi get taken out? Okay, was he a nice guy? No. Was Saddam Hussein a nice guy? No. But what did those two guys have in common? And here's the thing. Here's where we're at in the world right now, okay? We were able to, like with Gaddafi, right? Gaddafi wanted to go on to a gold standard-based economy. Gaddafi actually encouraged the citizens of Libya to be armed. He encouraged it. So if you crossed him, he was a brutal dictator. However, he knew the importance of having an armed citizenry, number one. And number two, he knew the importance of having a currency, that was backed with something. That's why he was taken out. That's why that guy got taken out in the street and had somebody ram a sword up his ass repeatedly. And they literally did that. If you watch the footage, it's pretty fucking brutal. I'm sure everybody's seen it. And then you have a person like Hillary fucking Clinton go, he came, he saw, he died. And then makes up lies about Benghazi and talks about getting shot at with sniper fire when it never happened. I mean, that is, I mean, you want to talk about evil incarnate. I mean, that whole Clinton outfit is a bad deal. That's what comes from this system. That's what comes from this. That's what comes from us having the need to have a leader. You know, you get told that. I mean, you gotta look at the way we grew. Everybody's talking about leadership, right? Leadership. We need leaders. Why? You can't lead yourself? Like, are you that dumb that you don't know what to do? Like, you can't figure it out? You gotta have a leader? I mean, I don't get that. I don't get that at all. I mean, I sure as hell know what I need to do. I mean, I know how to go balls to the wall, and I know how to do the bare minimum of what I need, you know? And I mean, when it comes to, I mean, who wants to, I mean, the difference between a job and work, okay? There's a difference. We have the inherent necessity to be industrious, right? I think that's hardwired into most of humanity. Like, we want to be industrious. We have something we're passionate about, something we want to do, right? I know I do. And to me, that's not a job. Is it work? Certainly. But there's a bigger reward at the end of doing something like that. Like if I got somebody that I've known forever and they call me up and say, Mike, we really want a kitchen table. You know, we've seen some of your work. We'd love to have you build something for us. Can you come over and give us a price? Okay. Now, to me, that's not, I mean, while you could say, yes, it's a job because I'm doing something in exchange for something else, right? I'll even do it for trade. I mean, I much prefer that. If somebody's got a vehicle or, you know, a tool or something that I'd like to have, I mean, I'd much rather be able to do the work and barter, make a trade. You know, oftentimes that's difficult because there's, you know, obviously different values on different things. You know, that's very rare that you have one thing that you can trade straight up for something else and have the value be equal. However, I don't mind doing that or throwing that into the mix at least. But when I go and look at that person's house and I see what they have on the walls, I see the kind of art they have, I see like the flooring, I look at, do they have like, is there stuff on the walls that like got custom frames, or is it like shit from fucking, Walmart? You just look at things like that. What's the flooring look like? You know, I mean, I like to go and walk through and get a feeling for, who somebody is, talk to them. And then I'll tell people if they want me to build something for them, I'm like, look, I know what I'm going to do for you. You just tell me the size or give me the space and I'll put it together. And then when I start working on that for them, I'm enthusiastic about it because I've got a vision in mind, right? I'm like, okay, this is what I'm looking for. I go through my stacks of wood, that I've got. It's like, okay, I've got this dark walnut slab over here. This will work great. Or I've got this maple slab or whatever, right? And you sit there and you start, it's a labor of, that turns into a labor of love, right? Like you're building something for that particular person that's never going to be recreated by anybody else. You're not going to be able to, like the table I'm sitting at right now, I could never recreate this. This is it. Every piece of furniture in this studio, every fucking frame in here, they can't be recreated. They don't come off of a fucking assembly line. They come from in here, right? It's just like you can't recreate my, tattoos and shit. I mean, you kind of can, but you can't. And so when you got to work a job, we're going full circle here. When you got to work a job where you spend the day fucking punching out apples in the back of a case, and that's what you do day in, day out, 6 days a week, 9 to 10 hours a day. That's a rough world. That's a rough place to be. It's no wonder they got suicide nets, and it's no wonder that there's not a lot more of them around, and that there's not some around here in this country. I mean, It's absolutely ridiculous that we have individuals that have, $350 billion. And then we've got 500 and some odd thousand people that are living in tents or even worse out on the street. It's no wonder that we have the drug addiction problems that we have. It's no wonder that people turn to that. It's no wonder that people turn to crime. Think about that. I mean, if it wasn't for financial inequities with individuals, would people be doing criminal shit? Okay, yeah, you're going to have a percentage of people that are psychopaths, that are sociopaths, that are just, but it's a very low percentage. It's not like what we have going on right now. You got people throwing people out onto train tracks, stabbing people, people fucking jumping over counters and attacking somebody over a bag of chips. That man in New York City that ran that bodega, okay, Puerto Rican gentleman. And then you have the black guy that got killed. His girlfriend runs her card. Card is declined. The black dude goes behind the counter, right? And this is a New York City bodega, so you've got at least it's plexiglass. They probably claim it's bulletproof, but you got a plexiglass fucking thing around the fucking... And he jumps up through the fucking window, and you've got an old-ass, probably 60, 65, maybe 70-year-old man back there. He's sitting on his chair. He can't do anything. The female's card is declined. She's trying to buy a bag of chips and a soda, some shit like that, right? So the black dude jumps up through the fucking window and puts hands on this old Puerto Rican man. Well, the guy's obviously been through this before because he's got a piece, right? He's got a Tennessee toothpick, just like I got sitting here, right? So, I mean, he pulls out his piece, right? I mean, I got that in my pocket all the time. But that's a tool. I wouldn't stick that in. I mean, no way. I mean, self-defense, yeah, you use a tool that you have in self-defense, but you don't go out and just... But anyways, old man ends up having to stab the guy because the guy's physically he's throwing him around back there. I mean, the footage is pretty fucking grisly. They take the old man, they throw him out on Rikers fucking Island. They charge him with second-degree murder. They put like $1 million cash bond on his head. He can't afford that. They drop it down to $50,000, and this bodega owners association comes up with the 50 G's to get him out, and he's still looking at second-degree murder charges. He was attacked. This is an old man. He works like 12 hours a day, and he gets attacked. Why does he get attacked? Because somebody wants a bag of chips and doesn't have the money for it. What the fuck is that? You want a bag of chips, you're hungry, you should be able to eat. You're cold, you should have heat. If you're going out in the wintertime, you should have a jacket. You should have good boots, pants, gloves, hats, whatever you need. We have a world of abundance right there in front of us. And because of this money thing, right? And because we design things, it's planned obsolescence, right? That's what it is. That's why you have a vehicle that breaks down. That's why I'm $45,000 into a $20,000 truck that I can't ever sell because I'm only going to get $8,000 out of it. And I got to drive it till the wheels come off. And I had to learn how to be my own diesel mechanic because I can't afford $85 an hour to have somebody work on that fucking thing every time it breaks down, because it breaks down all the time because it's a fucking Ford piece of shit with a good motor, but all the components were put together like shit because they wanted to get it out there, right? So instead of taking the time, Ford fucking puts out a goddamn truck that's got a great motor in it, but it's got a bad oil cooler. It's got an EGR system for emissions, right? The whole thing. I mean, do you think, why are we so stupid with this emissions shit? We just flew fucking stupid fucking 82-year-old Nancy Pelosi with her son, who's invested in 5 different corporations that are under investigation. And guess where they went? Every place they went, he was invested there. Right? Weird. We paid for that. You and me, we paid for Paul Pelosi Jr. to fly on that fucking plane. Who knows what the goddamn barbell was on there? I've seen flights, I've seen records of flights with her where there's been $105,000 worth of booze. People drinking Johnny Walker Blue and the most expensive shit you can think of on a flight. So we just pay, okay, so let's think about this, okay? So they want electric cars, right? Okay, where's electricity come from? Like 3% of the fucking electricity in this country comes from wind or solar. The rest of it comes from, guess what? Coal and natural gas. Okay? So you're trading, you're trading one thing for another. But in the fact that with the way that they have gasoline set up now, that they've bumped it up to 20% ethanol, now you have 20% of the silage corn in this country that's being produced for animals, right? Because we are meat eaters for the most part. Not all of them. What's the percentage of people in this country that are vegan? Nothing against vegans. You want to be a vegan? Eat whatever you want to eat. I don't care. It's your life. I don't give a shit. Just don't tell me about it. That's the thing I don't like about vegans. They got to tell you about it. Oh, I'm vegan. I don't give a shit. You don't want to eat it? You want to go eat nuts and berries? Go eat nuts and berries. Fine. Good. There's more steak for me. I don't give a shit. Does it affect me at all? No. I don't care. I mean, what's the percentage of people? I mean, let's just look it up. I'm going to find a number here. Vegan percentage in the U.S. They sure will tell you about it, though. I can tell you that much. If they're vegan, boy, right? Like, Okay. The United States. We got 5% are vegetarians. That's not vegan. So 5% in the United States. So do the math on that. All right. We're at 338 million people and 5% are vegetarian. This isn't even vegan. This is vegetarian. Vegan 2022. Let's see. All right, so apparently it's gone in an increase of 500%. There are now as many. Okay, so in 2020, it's gone up because that other statistic I quoted with vegetarianism, that was from. I don't even know what year that was, but it has gone up. They said it's gone up 500%. There are now as many as 6% of American consumers that report that they now follow a totally vegan diet. Now that's people that report that. Maybe, but still, it's a small number. It doesn't, anyway, regardless, it doesn't matter because the cost, okay, it takes lithium, right, to make an electric car. Where do we get who's got the lithium? We had access to a lot of it in Afghanistan, but we just fucking took off and left all that shit along with billions and billions of dollars worth of technology and military equipment and shit that, that you and I paid for. We paid for that. You can say whatever, but guess what? Look at your taxes. And now this new bill is going to make way for 87,000 new IRS agents. 87,000 IRS agents. Has anybody read their big, okay, you want to talk about manifestos? You should get on irs.gov and read what their propaganda about working for the IRS. They're talking about the training to to have a better reputation with the client. Who in the fuck likes the IRS? Tell me somebody out, seriously, somebody out there, fucking send me an email or a message, tell me and sing the praises of the IRS and how much good stuff you have to say about the IRS. Who has anything good to say about them? I don't know a single person that would say, oh yeah, I just really like that IRS. The fact that they just take that money from me, I go work my ass off every week and I don't even have a say in it. When I get my check, it's already deducted, and then tax season comes around and then I'm stressed over that because I don't know if I'm going to get anything back. I don't even know how it works because it's so complicated. I can't understand it, so I got to go hire an accountant. I got to go to HR Block and pay them to fucking do my fucking taxes over the fucking money that I earned and that has already been taken away from me, but I'm hoping maybe I get something back. Come on. Who out there has anything good to say about the IRS? Anybody? Raise your hand. Raise your hand if you're sure. I can sound off. You know what I'm saying? They had the nerve to put that out there that say, oh, through training, we hope to, I can't remember the term. I read the whole thing earlier. I had to pull this up. I had it up earlier on on my monitor. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous. I mean, come on. I mean, 87,000. And who are they coming for? Oh, if you don't make over 400,000. How many people in this country make over 400,000? Who makes over $400,000 a year? Anybody? What's the percentage of people that make over $400,000 a year in this country? Huh? We can find out right now because we have the world of knowledge right in front of us on this thing called the internet. How many Americans make over 400K per year? Let's see what we got for a number here. This ought to be interesting. Okay. So we got 2.8 million out of 385 million people. Or 338 million people, I'm sorry. It's probably more than that because we have a lot of illegals now in the country that we don't even know. I mean, sorry, I'm not trying to call people illegal, but I'm just saying we have people here that are here illegally. So they're saying they got 2.8 million. Do the math. Do you want me to do the math? Do I have to do the math? Am I the only one that does the fucking math around here? I mean, it's not that hard to do, right? I mean, I think we can figure that one out pretty easy. I do have to turn my calculator to the side. So we've got 338 million, roughly. Let's just call it 340, okay? Because let's be honest here. Okay, and then we have. All right, so what they say, 2.8 million. Okay, we got 2.8 million. 330. Well, let's call it 339. Okay. Do you know what that percentage is? That's 0.008%. 0.008% of the population of this country make over 400,000. That's what's going to affect is those people. So they're going to get taxed, and that's going to get us out of this inflation bullshit. This is bullshit. We are in an unsustainable system. We have a currency system that's based on nothing. Okay, there's nothing backing it. There's nothing behind it. The only thing that keeps it running. Okay, the only thing that's kept it going for so long is the fact that we've had this military might, and we've been able to threaten people. That's why I talked about Libya. That's why I talked about Iraq. Because if you wanted to go off the petrodollar, then we were going to send in. Has anybody ever heard of economic hitmen? All right. There's a guy out there, and I'm trying to remember his name. He was an economic hitman. That's what we do. We send economic. If somebody's trying to get off, right? Like if somebody's trying to go like off the petrodollar, right? Like Brazil is off. They're on the real. Russia's now the ruble is the highest performing currency on the planet after our sanctions. So we put our trust in Dickhead, and he came out with his stupid aviator glasses and his mush mouth and talked about how these sanctions were going to fucking put Russia on their knees. Nope. You know the big thing with Russia right now is that they're occupying a Ukrainian nuclear power station, and somebody is bombing the shit out of it. I can't really say because I don't want to put out anything that would go against the community guidelines, but it would lead me to believe if the Russians are occupying it that it wouldn't be in their best interest, just in my opinion, it wouldn't be in their best interest to bomb a place that they're occupying. I'm just saying. I'm just using what I would consider to be common sense. I'm not saying one way or another. So Putin has had to get with the UN and talk about what are they going to do. So this guy, John Perkins, right? He wrote a book called Confessions of an Economic Hitman, and he talks about this. And he did this for a living. He'd go into countries, if they pissed us off, if they were trying to do something that was going to go off the US dollar, if it was going to be economically, bad for us, then he'd go in and say, okay, look, here's what we're going to do. All right. If that didn't work, then they sent in what they called the jackals. And then a leader ends up mysteriously dying in a plane crash or having a toaster thrown in the bathtub, And then that sends a message to the predecessors or whoever comes afterwards, right? The successor, I shouldn't say predecessor, the successor, whoever comes into power next. It says, listen, now you're going to play by our fucking rules, and we're going to sit you down, and we're going to tell you what's expected. And if you don't do this, then, look at, look at homeboy over there, We did it in Panama. We've done it all over the fucking world. And then we want to talk about the Russians interfering with our elections. We have been the biggest interference in global politics of any country. Also what they got a bot factory that makes a Jesus meme about Hillary and they put it on Facebook. Well, if that influences an election, then that shows you how fucking stupid this fucking society is. And I'm first to say it. This society is dumb. America is so dumb. It's hard to talk to people in this country. It's very difficult. People are fucking dumb. I mean, they don't look at anything. They can't step back. They're just stupid. People just, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be mean either. But, it's just stupidity. The whole idea of what we're doing here is just dumb. This vote, and then you put a sticker on your shirt. I voted. You go back to work. I voted. For what? A shit sandwich? Half the people go in there, especially during the, when you're talking like local and state, local state elections, things like that. They don't even know the issues. They don't even know the candidates. They just look at and see if there's a R or a D. And that's what they do. They don't even know. That's what I'm saying. If you don't know, if you can't give me a reason other than you think it's the lesser of two evils, and that's just your perception, depending on what news you watch. If you come home from work and you're so numb that you still think that CNN is the same CNN that it was, back in the 80s, which I think that they used to be fairly objective. They're not even close now. The news aggregator that I use, I tried to find the most unbiased news aggregator where I could get my information from, right? Because I don't want to get my information from Fox News or CNN. There's things from each that you can take away. And so I use All Sides. In every single article, they give you a left, a center, and a right position. And then you can look at it and you can read all three articles and you can go, okay, well, this is what makes sense. Now, what makes sense to me might not make sense to you, but at least if we're observing things from different perspectives, then that gives us perspective. Because if you're looking at everything from just this one side and you're not thinking about the other side and you just hate that other side, right? It's like they got nothing good. They're just fucked up and I'm not getting it. Fuck them. No. I'm like that. I don't have anything that I'm not going to listen to anything Brian Stelter has to say. Sorry. Not happening. Just like I really don't care to listen to what Sean Hannity has to say. They made a Family Guy did they were talking on a Family Guy episode. Some of these cartoons, people are just absolutely hilarious commentaries on society. But there was one where they were talking about Hannity at the Drunken Clam. It was Peter and Cleveland and Quagmire and Joe, and they were talking about Hannity, and they said that he was like the little league coach that you hoped your kid didn't end up on his team. I thought that was awesome because that sums him up, right? Like he's a warmonger, and he's a knucklehead. I don't care to listen to him, but I'll listen to Tucker, and I don't know. Ever since Anthony Bourdain passed away, I guess there really hasn't been much on CNN for me. I don't know. I can't really think of. Sometimes even like Van Jones sometimes has something decent to say, but most of the time, no. And I've tried to email him to talk to him a little bit because I've heard him say things that make sense that are like cogent and like coming from a good place that I think. But I'm not going to hear anything back because I'm just a spud from Wyoming. What do I know? Nothing. But I would like to play that Family Guy clip, but I don't think I'd get away with it. I mean, maybe I can. I mean, what the hell? Nobody watches this fucking show anyways. It doesn't matter. Maybe I can find this because this is funny. Maybe I can just play that. Maybe I can just play it and not put the. Let's just see if I can find it. It's a funny clip. Here we go. Let's see if we can just find it. Yeah, here. Okay, so this is just 1 minute and 23 seconds. So this is Peter and Quagmire. I'm just gonna put it up. I don't care. Whatever they want. I mean, what are they gonna do? They're gonna shut me down. I mean, I got hit the other night because I played a Rage Against the Machine song because I felt
turn
like
that off
up there because it was pertinent to everything I'd been dealing with that day. So here we go. This is what I wish I had a producer. All right, there we go. And we're off.
I can't believe we're going to have a dog for mayor. We're going to be the laughing stock of the whole country. Even Sean Hannity's talking about us.
He's a weird-looking guy. Put up a picture of Sean Hannity.
Can we do that?
Yeah, Tosh does it all the time. Put it up.
Yeah, he does look weird.
Yeah, who does he look like?
I'm seeing Mr. Doubtfire.
High-sodium Superman?
He looks like an angry face drawn on a thumb.
The richest guy at Rite Aid?
Or the mayor who won't close the beaches in Jaws.
Wreck-It Ralph at a job interview.
You know that's a guy who's roughly led his wife out of parties by the elbow.
A guy whose ice cream parlor just went broke.
He looks like a handsome weeble.
Or a hot Frankenstein.
Yeah, but either way, he's that Little League coach the parents hope their kids don't get.
He looks like a fish that inflates to scare predators.
The inside trader who kills himself the day his prison sentence is supposed to start.
I'm thinking Fred and Barney's son.
Trust me on this. Strip club lunch regular.
I feel like that's a dad who's ripped his kids' posters off the wall.
And sleeps in pajamas buttoned to the top.
72-ounce steak contest entrant.
Drowned in the lake last month, Colin Farrell. All right, that was fun. Hey, let's do Matthew Perry. I'll start. He looks like a pelican trying to swallow a fish that's too big.
Barn owl in human skin.
He looks like he told a genie he wished to be a pool noodle.
Hey, guys. Friends brings me a lot of joy, so can we stop this?
Oh my God. That it doesn't get much better than that, right? I mean, come on. That was awesome. I hope somebody watched that. I hope somebody out there watched that and enjoyed it as much as I just did, because I'm probably going to watch it again. But they say he looked like a barn owl, the pelican who swallowed too many fish. I think on that note, I guess we'll cut it off. But what else was I going to talk about? I had some notes here. And then I think I spilled on them or something. Yeah, H.R. 4346. That's the inflation bill. Check that out and see where the money is going. You tell me. It's 39 pages. If I can read it, you can read it. I've read it. We'll talk about it maybe tomorrow. I'm not going to keep going because I know I've gone over time anyways. But I wanted to play that little clip there because I thought that was hilarious. What else did it say? This looked like I'm going to have to go back and watch that again because that shit's fucking funny as hell. So, anyway, on that note, I'm going to take us out of here. As we always say, if you've tuned into the Mike Files, I appreciate it. If you can hit that like button, it helps me out a lot. This is going to be coming up on Spotify, so if you check it out on Spotify, you can follow the show on Spotify. That also helps me out. I've been putting it up on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. It does come up on Rumble, just not live because I don't have the technology or the knowledge of how to stream to all these different places. So, I mean, you'll see it on Facebook Live. There'll be a link on Twitter. I try and put links on Instagram. But anywhere you can, if you listen to it and you can hit a thumbs up, just give it a like. There's no obligation to it, none at all. It helps me out a lot, I mean, I've put everything into this. I really am trying to do something that, I guess I say the road to hell is paved with good intentions. But my intentions with all this, it is, I do have good intentions. It is all about, caring about people and I'd love to step away from these politics, but here's the thing: is that we have to, you got to understand what's going on. That's the way I look at it. You can't just turn a blind eye and just stagger around stupid and fucking act like everything's cool, because it's not. When you see things that are going wrong, when things are bad, when evil is fucking taking over, and a lot of people won't stand up to it. I'm not that person. I will. And I have a voice and I'll always use it. Life's too short to just sit there and be quiet about something, and I don't like seeing people being treated wrong. That's my big thing. I don't give a shit about me. It's all you out there that I care about. I don't like people being bullied. I can't stand a fucking bully. And that's what I see is, these people in charge are bullies. They've intimidated us into making decisions that we wouldn't typically make, and into, it's Stockholm syndrome. We've basically taken our captors and decided that there's some kind of benevolent fucking entity that has our best interest in them, and in the back of their mind when they make decisions, and they don't care about you. They don't care about me. They don't care about any of us. They don't give a shit. They just want to take your money. They want to keep you subservient, keep you down, and just keep plowing along. And I don't know why. I don't understand it. Maybe someday I will. I just don't understand why people want to be that way when there's plenty for all of us. So you got to ask yourself, what's the answer? My answer is that we have to move to a resource-based economy, to where everybody has whatever they need and whatever they want. I'm not talking about putting everybody in a dog kennel like China. But there's enough for everybody. We shouldn't have kids going hungry. We shouldn't have disease. We shouldn't have poverty. We shouldn't have gang activity. And you look at the crime and shit that everybody wants to bitch about right now. Well, where does crime come from? What inspires crime? It's scarcity. Crimes are typically committed by people that they don't have what they need. And what choice do you have? That's why I resorted to it. That's why I ended up in prison. I was getting hit so bad with everything that by the time child support hit me, as a grown man, I'm bringing home $141 a week. You can't live on that. So what did I do? I've resorted to some other things that I never would have done. I've worked my entire life. Up to the point where I've done nerve damage on my fucking legs and I can't feel them anymore, And what are you going to do? I haven't resorted to, this is not a criminal activity unless playing that Family Guy clip falls under that. Sue me. Anyway, I'll leave it at that. Be good or be good at it. In all things, be kind and do no harm. If you do your best to make it right. All right. We'll catch y'all on the flip. Peace out.